What is the future of the world of books in Indonesia after the pandemic? Imagining the future of our book industry after this pandemic, whether we want it or not, we will need many characters like Liesel in the film The Book Thief, taken from the novel by Marcus Jusak. For those who have never read the novel or seen the film, Liesel is a young girl who understands the world she is facing, the world during the Second World War, through her love of books. Liesel is secretly taught to read by her adoptive father and gains an appreciation for literature by the wife of the town's mayor as well as the Jewish man hidden by her parents. Liesel is able to transcend the bigotry that surrounds her through education, drawing personal strength and elevating those around her through her blossoming literacy. In terms of reading material, access to it, the situation of this pandemic we are experiencing is not as critical as what Liesel experienced. We still have the freedom to read anything and in various formats, print, electronic, and audio. We are only restricted by our ability to visit the bookstores or libraries. Because of that, in this situation when we can't go anywhere, will we have a strong urge to read as Liesel? When we talk about Indonesia reading habits specifically, we need many Liesels as role models. And even more so right now, we can say that this time at home is the time to read books. However, books must compete with many entertainment platforms that can be accessed at home. All the different types of platforms try to grab our attention. That didn't exist during Liesel's time. From YouTube, social media, television news broadcasts that continually broadcast the latest news of the COVID-19, to the subscription film that such as Netflix, Amazon Prime, and so on. The decline in sales has been a bitter pill to swallow since March of this year. Indonesian publishers have reported a decline of up to 80% in sales. One publisher complained, "It's been made worse by the dollar going up in value. Meanwhile, the price of paper, printing materials, and other imports are all set to the dollar." In this session, we will look at the market insight of the Indonesian publishing industry and discuss the future of this industry from the side of IKAPI as the country's publishers association, and with the Gramedia Group, the country's largest publishing and book retail company in the country. My name is Laura Prinsloo. I'm the chair of 17.000 Pulau Imaji Foundation, and I will lead this discussion. I hope this session will provide insights of the impact of the pandemic, what government initiatives are available to help the publishers, and where the industry is going. First, let me introduce our speakers. We have the President of Indonesian Publishers Association, Rosidayati Rosalina. Rosidayati Rosalina, or Ida, has 16 years of experience in the publishing industry. She was the President Director of PT Remaja Rosdakarya and became the President Commissioner of the company since 2019. Now, she is the President of Indonesian Publishers Association, or IKAPI, and she has recently established her own publishing company named PT Mekar Cipta Lestari. Our second speaker is the President Director of Kompas Gramedia Group, Mr. Wandi Brata. As part of his preparation to be a Catholic priest, Petrus Canisius Wandi Sandiwan Brata studied philosophy and got his BA from Diyarkaya Institute of Philosophy, Jakarta, Indonesia. And then his master is from Gregorian University, Rome, Italy in 1987. He studied theology at Weda Bhakti Pontifical Institute of Theology, Yogyakarta, Indonesia, and graduated in 1990. In May 1991, 2 months before his ordination as Jesuit priest, He left the Society of Jesus and joined PT Gramedia Pustaka Utama, a general book publishers under Kompas Gramedia Group, the leading company in media and book industry in Indonesia, as a non-fiction editor. In 2009, he was appointed as the executive director of PT Gramedia Pustaka Utama. In 2012, he was the deputy group director of Gramedia Group of book publishing companies. And since 2014, he is the group director of Gramedia Group of book publishing companies and English language training centers. Good morning to both of you. Hello, apa kabar?
Hello, Laura. Good morning.
Hello, Laura. Morning.
Thank you for joining us right now in this session on market insight on Indonesian publishing industry. Mr. Wandi, are you able to tell us or present to us the situation of your publishing group and also maybe data from the bookstore that holds various books from various publishers about the situation before and then during the pandemic right now?
Okay, Laura, thank you for the opportunity to talk with you and to share our data. I have prepared even a decade. Yeah? Our data includes, well, I will say a decade. Yeah? Maybe you can present my presentation materials. Okay, next slide. Next. Yeah, this is our proportion of book and non-book in our stores. Yeah? We have now 122 stores in all overall Indonesia, mainly of course in Jakarta and Java and big cities of the islands. As you notice in my slide, before 2010, the proportion of books and non-books was 40% non-books and 60% for books. Yeah? And you notice that every time the percentage was declining. Yeah? And it is an exception of this year because of the COVID. Yeah? The proportion is 52% of non-books and 48% of our books. But that's not that is not our main what do you call it factor to be worried about it, because as you know, our stores not diminishing the proportion of books that access in these stores, but we enlarge our marketing or sales space to accommodate stationery, sport material and apparatus, also home appliance. So the total sums of books that enter in store always growing. So this proportion will, I hope, will not make you worry about it, because we have another slide that will show our book industry is still growing. Maybe next slide. Now, this is our customer, Gramedia customer. This data is valid now. And actually, I presented this pie in Frankfurt Book Fair when we was guest of honor in Frankfurt Book Fair. Our reader are 68% female and only 32% male. But in this 5 years, there are plus minus 5% since 2015, meaning that this basic number, 68 and 32%, we can use as the basis. Yeah? but there is what do you call up and downs about 5% each year. Yeah? For instance, this year the male reader, the male customer is 37, yeah? And the female 63. Yeah? Why? Because we have so many non-fiction bestseller that compensate to this proportion. Next slide. Yeah, that is sales growth of printed books. Yeah, before 2010, we usually enjoyed growth more than 30%, but in 2010 we enjoyed only 28%. And you notice in this slide that every year there is a decline. Yeah? Until 2017, even minus 0.48%. Yeah? But that is not the, it doesn't mean that the book industry is declining. The growth is still happening, but the total sum of the percentage of the growth is declining. Yeah? Of course, this year is a special year because we have a COVID pandemic, and our performance until this mid-September only 55%. It means that we have growth of minus 44%. But this is the data of this mid-month. So I hope that the outlook will be maybe about 65 to 70% performance compared to the previous year. Yeah. Next. Now, this is the graphic to show the same data. Yeah. You notice that in 2017 we well minus 0.5%, eh? But there was a good rebound in 2018 and 2019. Eh? Okay, next. That is the graphics of the sales growth. So every year we are growing. Eh? There is still growth except in the 2017. Yeah? And of course, the 2020, this is the impact of the pandemics. I hope that the outlook will be better than this, maybe about 65 to 70%. It means there will be about 30% declining compared to the previous year. Next. That is the sales of the printed books during this pandemic. Yeah? We use the average monthly sales of the previous year as the baseline. Yeah? So you see the graphics, the up downs of this sales monthly. March and April, well, it is the very severe situation because this was our first period of grand social limitation, and then we have June and July. There was a loosening of the social limitation, so the sales increased. But then our governor declared that September will be, and is now running, the second period of the social limitation, and our sales is reflected in this slide. I hope next year will be better. Next. So this is the market share of the of Gramedia compared to non-Gramedia. That's the data. Okay, I will tell you, Lauren. That I can only tell you about the Indonesian situation as far as our store can capture the data of our book industry. There are so many publishers that sell the books via our store, and the data, that is the data. So I cannot tell about the Indonesian situation overall. I can only tell you about the situation as reflected by our data that we gain from our chain of bookstores. So even the market share, it is only valid in our bookstore. Of course, our market share is increasing in this year because I don't know why, but there are also what do you call it? Declining productivity in our society in Indonesia, and we receive. I mean, our chain of store receives less than before to printed book that will be sold in our stores. Yeah. Okay, maybe next slide. So that is the ebooks situation. Yeah? From 2015 to this year, there is always a good growth. Yeah? This year, our growth, that is nationally, 40% compared to the previous year. And the next slide will show. Okay, next slide. This slide shows a very optimistic situation about the online sales growth of printed book. There are 261% compared to the previous year. Of course, via Gramedia.com, but we have two triggers, that is Gramedia Go, a device, a mobile device, and that if you go to a bookstore and you cannot find the title that you want, you can ask the staff in the bookstore to use the Gramedia Go. You will pay in the store, but the book will be sent to you to your address. And the second trigger is a Gramedia reseller. That is also an application. And what do you got? Well, like a mobile store, everyone that has the license to do that via his or her mobile phone will sell our books, and they got the commission up to 30%. Okay, next slide. So in this situation, we also transforms ourselves, our vision about ourselves as publishing house also changed. We now perceive ourselves as IP managers, IP developers, and IP enhancer, meaning that whatever IP trusted to us, we manage it, we develop it. For instance, from books or printed book to ebook to audio book, even some films we do, we make based on our books. So the product will be a multi-format products, and the outlet will be multi-channel, offline, online, and we cooperate with so many .com to deliver our products. We also change our criteria of publication. Usually we think about two points, important point: quality meaning the IP, the contents, and how the content was presented, and the sellability of this IP. So if the high quality and high sellability, we will of course publish. But now, since we prioritize in the ebooks, so less printed books, so the publishing cost is diminishing. There are we can reduce the cost production with mainly publish ebook version or audio version. No paper, no printing processes. So whatever manuscript offered to us, if we perceive as a good one, we certainly will publish. Even the sellability will low. Okay, next slide. So that is our strategy to handle the situation. From production side, we prioritize ebooks, audiobook, video, limited printings, and minimizing inventory. Also give print-on-demand services. In marketing, we strengthening of the online services and inter-store products transfer. I mean this, inter-store products transfer. We have, because we have Gramedia Go and Gramedia Reseller, everyone can buy from everywhere, and the store will send to the address that is provided by the customer, the reader. So if one store have no inventory, another store will transfer to that store. Not only to that store, also to the customer directly. And of course, the last one, we will focus on the community-based marketing and fan-based marketing, meaning that we will mobilize the fan base of the writers. Even we do the pre-order with them. So if you are a writer, for instance, Laura, before we publish your books, we will do a soft launch to gather the pre-order of your books. So we will have a certain number that will be printed, and that number we will edit with certain sums to be distributed to the stores. Okay, next. That is, my presentation is over. If there is a question and answer, I will be open to that. Thank you, Laura.
Terima kasih, Pak Wandi, Mr. Wandi. That was very inspiring, considering that in June or in July, the sales of printed books almost reached to the figure before the pandemic. And
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions. One is, you mentioned that you are emphasizing on IP. Would you think that IP management and licensing is the future of the publishing industry?
We think so, Laura. So everything will be online, everything will be virtual. So we enter in this business. For that, we create a new institution in our Kompas Gramedia group to accommodate these enterprises and to make films, to make audio, video, animation, even games.
Okay, and about your marketing strategies, you've developed new initiatives. Would you be doing this even when this situation or goes back to normal when the pandemic is over? Would you be continuing your new marketing strategies?
Yes, yes, Laura. The device that we provide, for instance, for reseller and Gramedia Go, even we edit it. We edit them with Dropbox that's automatically. So if you go to Lipo Karawaci Gramedia, there is a Dropbox there. You can put in the Dropbox whatever you buy, books, non-books, and automatically they will record. There is a screen that the title and the item is displayed and the prices. And then you pay with e-money, and you put the all the material that you put in the Dropbox, and you just go out without interaction with our staff.
Wow, that's very inspiring.
We have only one, of course. This is a trial. We will multiply within few months in advance. Also, of course, next year. But it is very costly because everything will be coded. Because if there is a tip, then they just take the books and go out. There will be a signal that there is a moving product with it's not valid or not paid.
Okay, thank you for sharing, Mr. Wandi. I'm going to Mrs. Rosidayati Rosalina, President of the Indonesian Publishers Association. Hello, Mrs. Ida.
Hello, Laura.
From IKAPI side, you would probably know information about your members, which are Indonesian publishers. Are you able to share with us a similar question to what I just asked with Mr. Wandi? The situation right now, before and during the pandemic, and where is our industry going after this pandemic is over?
Okay, thanks. I will. I would like to share the result of survey that have been conducted by IKAPI recently about book publishing industry in Indonesia. Currently in Indonesia, there are around 2,000 large and small publishing companies spread across all major islands in Indonesia. The majority are in Java and Bali with approximately 88%, 7% in Sumatra, while 2% are in Kalimantan and Sulawesi and Papua respectively. The majority of publishing houses, or around 45%, publishes more than one genre, while other publishers prefer more specialized genres such as academic books, religious books, educational books, and children books. Of the total number of publishers in Indonesia, 1,821 are members of the Indonesian Publishers Association, or IKAPI. The rest are non-member or join in another publishers association. Their non-membership is indicated by the absence of statement as a member of IKAPI on their prelim book pages. Next slide, please. Yeah. Referring to the data of IKAPI, members in 2015, there are, sorry, can you go back the slide? Yeah, thank you. Referring to the data of IKAPI members in 2015, there is a very significant increase of memberships from 1,339 in 2015 to 1,821 in 2019. This means there are 482 new memberships in a period of 4 years. The majority of this number are from Java, like East Java, West Java, Jakarta, and Central Java. And outside Java shows the rapid growth of publishing houses spread in North Sumatra, South Sulawesi, Bali, and West Sumatra. Next slide, please. Based on the survey, out of 1821 IKAPI members, there are 800 publishers who are still active publishing new books in 2019, with a balanced proportion between publishers who were members before 2015 and those who were members after 2015. A total of 240 publishers are concentrated on selling their books from the previous years or publishing very selective new titles. Unfortunately, we noted that there are more than 700 members who have not actively published books anymore or have moved to other business fields, even though they are still registered as a member of IKAPI. Inactive members are mostly based in Jakarta, reaching nearly 250 publishers. This is followed by West Java, Central Java, and East Java. In general, publishers outside Java are still in the active members category because they are mostly publishers incorporated with university and higher education institutions who regularly publish books by their teaching staff. Next slide, please. In the last 5 years, there has been social and economic instability that has affected many business sectors in Indonesia. Even before COVID-19 pandemic occurred, there has been a decreasing 10 to 15% number of books printed since the last 3 years. The decrease is experienced by nearly 75% of publishers, especially publishers of school books, college textbooks, and general reference books. The only books that tend to be in constant development are children's books and books on religious theme. School books have also experienced a significant decline from around 38 million copies in 2015 to only 35 million by the end of 2019. This decline occurred due to the merging of teaching materials in basic education from unit to thematic, thereby reducing the number of book titles and decreasing book purchases by public schools at private publishers due to the availability of electronic books provided by the government. Next slide, please. The estimated number of book circulation published in 2015 is around 102 million copies. This number dropped dramatically in 2019 to only 94 million copies. Based on data from Gramedia bookstores, non-Gramedia, and direct sales, there has been a crucial decline of 8 million copies in 4 years, and around 3 million of them are school textbooks. The rest, this deduction comes from academic textbooks, general reference books, and other types of books. Of the 94 million copies printed in 2019, the average market absorbed in 2019 is only 65%. This means that it takes at least more than 1 year for a book title with an average circulation of 3,000 copies to be sold out. The decline in sales of general and reference book was largely due to the availability of digital information. Research conducted by IKAPI through an online survey of students from 20 universities in Jakarta and Bandung shows that book ownership among students is very low. Only about 15% of the respondents took the initiative to buy textbooks or references as study materials. The rest borrow from libraries or search for information from the internet. However, despite the decline in circulation, money value tended to be stable due to the increase of 5% to 10% of the average book price per year. This information indicated that even though there is an increase in IKAPI memberships, this augmentation is not followed by a growth in the publisher sales turnover as a result of various things that are related to one another as described below, before. Regarding digital books, the data shows a significant increase in the number of publishers starting to move towards digital books products from around 20% in 2015 to nearly 40% in 2020. Digital books here are still in PDF format. Only textbook publisher and foreign language reference books that have multi-platform performance, namely a combination of text, audio, video, and external access to the YouTube platform. The remaining 60% still hold on with conventional book products. Although there has been an increasing number of publishers who have provided digital formats for their books, in terms of sales turnover, the contribution of digital books to book sales has not shown a significant number. The survey say that the contribution of this type of digital product only plays an average of 12% of the total sales. The reason is mainly due to the limited human resources that can navigate the sales of digital books, and also because most consumers are not familiar with this type of product. Concerning the trend of books that readers are interested in, it shows that there is no prominent trend in one particular genre. For example, readers' interest is strongly influenced by the author's profile of religious themed books. Meanwhile, sales of books on religious classics tend to be stable. Likewise, with the fiction genre, the sale of fiction books is highly dependent on the figure of the author and the endorsement of reputable writers. However, when viewed in terms of the number of copies sold outside of school textbooks, children's books are the type of book that sold the most compared to other books. Next. Next. Yeah. Regarding the book price in Indonesia, the survey result shows that the majority of publishers sell college books, reference books, and religious books ranging between 75,000 rupiahs to 100,000 rupiahs, 5 to 7 US dollar, with an average discount of up to 35% for distribution through bookstores and campuses. Meanwhile, school textbooks range from 50,000 up to 75,000 rupiah, or 4 to 5 US dollar, with the same average discount. Fiction books do not have a uniform pricing pattern. Often the number of pages is used as reference, but prices can also be determined based on the author's reputation and the popularity of the theme. During the COVID-19 pandemic, next slide, please. There was next slide. There was a significant decrease in publishers' revenues. The majority of publishers experienced a decline of nearly 60% as the same period as before COVID-19. The situation raises concerns that they will not fulfill their sales target by the end of the 2020. This concern is especially felt by publishers who have already published many titles in January 2020. As a result, publishers began to limit their printed titles and to concentrate on the sale of books that are still circulating on the market. This COVID-19 condition also requires publishers to start seriously transforming into digital spectrum. The market under the government education program is huge, considering the number of students in Indonesia, which reaches tens of millions. The government has prepared guidelines for publishers for electronic and digital books that will be used in school. This is, of course, requires publishers to immediately take proactive steps to seize the opportunity. Next slide, please. IKAPI has taken proactive steps to help publishers to deal with this unprecedented situation. Collaboration with the government is strengthened in order to encourage programs that can empower publishers under IKAPI membership. IKAPI also runs a digital exhibition so that books from publisher can still be purchased by the public through the marketplace. And last but not least, IKAPI continues to convey the hope of publishers so the book purchase projects by the government can continue, and hopefully the publishers will navigate their way in the current market and amid the uncertainty of the pandemic. I think this is the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Ida, for your presentation. I am curious to know, is there any government support or help towards Indonesian publishers to cope during these tough times?
Yes, there's a lot that has been done by the government, especially from the Ministry of Tourism and Creative Economy. They help us and they collaborate with us, with IKAPI, I mean, in some program like Nulis dari Rumah, ya, write from home, to motivate writers to write about pandemic, and then about something else. And then they also collaborate with us to sell book from publisher to the consumers through marketplace. They collaborate us with 4 marketplaces, prominent marketplaces, yeah, the major marketplaces like Tokopedia, Bukalapak, Lazada, and also Blibli, in a program named Beli Buku Loka by local books. Yeah. And then now they help us also. They supported us. In our book fair, in Indonesia International Book Fair. They help us to, because this year IIBF will be a virtual edition, so they help us to enhance the virtual book fair to 3-dimension virtual book fair. The platform we built by ourselves, by IKAPI, but they help us to make visitors stays hopefully longer with the appearance of the virtual book fair in a 3-dimensional form. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I heard that you just started your a new publishing company during this pandemic. Congratulations!
Thank you.
So it gives us the confidence that as a president of the Publishers Association, you yourself is hopeful that the industry will never die and will continue to prosper. Are you able to tell us if you agree with what Mr. Wandi said before, that IP management and licensing is the future of our publishing industry?
Yes, I think IP management and licensing. Yeah, if we talk about go international, yes, that's the most important thing. But if we talk locally, because yeah, our country is big, we have a lot of population, we have a lot of market, a big market. I think we should focus on how encourage publisher in Indonesia to learn to go digital, because now in the pandemic, as I told before, the marketplace and e-commerce, they are now very important, because of the lockdown, the limitation, social limitation, so they are very powerful. So, but in the other side, the publisher, not many publisher can familiar with this marketplace or e-commerce. So I think the important thing in the local, for local publisher, I think they should learn fast how to familiar with this digital era through knowing how to sell in marketplace, in e-commerce, and how to change their books to ebook and or even audiobook. I think that's only the important things that will shape our future in publishing.
That is inspiring as well, because now we, me, myself, as well as a publisher, is very hopeful. A lot of changes need to be made to cope with the situation, but I think these changes are probably going to be everlasting. I would like to thank you both speakers for the opportunity to share about the publishing industry, both from Indonesia as a country and also from the biggest chain of bookstores in Indonesia. Thank you, Mr. Wandi, Mrs. Ida, for sharing. Let me close with this. To survive during the period of this pandemic, we cannot just rely on our own strength. We need to work together, learn from each other, and hopefully by doing this, it will enable us not just survive, but also equip us with the ability to continue in the post-pandemic world. And the adaptations or changes that we've made will only make us stronger to face any new challenges in the future. As publishers, this pandemic reminded us again why we first joined this industry. It's only because of our love for books. In The Book Thief, the Jewish man hidden by Liesel's family gives her a present, a diary, and tells her, "In my religion, we're taught that every living thing, every leaf, every bird is only alive because it contains the secret word for life. That's the only difference between us and a lump of clay. A word. Words are life." Again, a big thank you to Mr. Wandi Brata and Mrs. Roshidayati for your time and contribution to the session that I believe will not just give us insight of what the market here is like, but can inspire fellow publishers in other parts of the world. My name is Laura Prinsloo. Thank you, Frankfurt Book Fair, for the opportunity to share about Indonesia, and see you hopefully next year physically. Bye-bye.